Tariff Day for Trump, it may just be Resurrection Day for Democrats. The flailing opposition roaring back to life with a 25-hour speech by Senator Cory Booker and a convincing win in Wisconsin's Supreme Court election, proving there is a limit to what Elon Musk and his billions can buy. My first guest tonight has stepped into the ring trying to work out his party's most effective response to Trump. Democratic Senator Chris Murphy was in the chamber for Cory Booker's entire speech and asked the final question. I spoke to him just hours before the new tariffs were announced. Senator Murphy, welcome to the program.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So everybody is bracing. Honestly, that's all you can hear and read about over here in Europe. What is going to happen from the Rose Garden? How are we all going to be affected by what appears to be the start of a global trade war? How do you see it and how do you react, even though you haven't heard it yet?
Well, I mean, none of us know what the president is going to announce, and I'm not even sure what he announces will mean anything, maybe then immediate tumble in the markets, because anything he announces today, he may reverse tomorrow. Nothing is real until it is actually implemented. Already we have seen in the first 72 days, the president announced several tariffs that within 24, 48 hours had vanished. We also don't know what policy he's trying to drive at. Sometimes he's talking about tariffs as an economic policy, trying to build up U.S. industry, but he doesn't actually partner that with any industrial policy. Sometimes he's talking about it as migration policy. It all makes absolutely no sense to Americans, to economists, to our allies. We're waiting to see what he says today, but I frankly am not going to pay too much attention to the announcement he makes today until anything is actually implemented.
Okay, so that's interesting because therefore our viewers, even though we're talking before he's actually said it, should, react as you are, because as you say, implementation is what will matter. So how do you assess, and then I'm going to get to the Democrats, but GOP lawmakers are now essentially, whether it's in town halls or whatever, forced to explain how this trade war and this possible economic disruption, which will presumably hit people in America in their pockets, how is that better for U.S. consumers who, remember, voted for Trump in order to improve their cost of living crisis?
I think at this point you have to assume that Trump is intentionally trying to send the economy into a recession. And I understand that that doesn't make sense if you are treating American politics as normal. But nothing is normal here right now. Trump appears to be very intentionally trying to transition America away from a democracy to some form of autocracy. And part of the way you do that is to create crises. Everything Elon Musk is doing inside our government is just intended to create crisis, whether it's threatening to take people's Medicaid away, threatening to shut down Social Security, firing randomly thousands of federal employees. Everything is designed for chaos. And so I think you have to look at his trade policy as designed for chaos. Listen, tariffs can work. I'm a believer that targeted tariffs combined with domestic industrial policy, incentives to create manufacturing capacity in this country, can be good policy. But I think you have to acknowledge that's not what he's doing. He is applying tariffs with absolutely no corresponding domestic industrial incentives, and thus all that's going to happen here is prices are going to go way up, on cars, for instance, maybe $3,000 immediately, and there's going to be very little job creation in the United States. So I think that's the reality, is that the underlying motivation is recession and chaos.
Okay.